Well, it's getting cold. Even here in California, where we don't normally see snow, we had an abnormal snowstorm. Dropped about 4 inches of snow on my house the day before yesterday. Still got snow outside today. It was pretty. It was really pretty. I enjoy the snow, but I also worry about how some of the trees are going to manage this additional snow weight. Because here in California, the trees grow differently than they do in other parts of the world. Other parts of the country where you guys are used to snow, the trees slow down. They go to a state of dormancy that really strengthens the trees, and they're able to tolerate the snow load a little better than we do out here. The trees grow all year round here in California. Rarely do we have a cold snap like this unless it's up in the Sierras. I'm at 2,860 foot elevation. So this morning we had a bit of a problem getting out my driveway. I had to get the bobcat out, so I decided to go for a hike. Sun came out and it was like magic. I just absolutely love this. You know, seeing all the sparkles and all the differences in the color. I had a good time looking for animal tracks out here in this fresh powder as well. It also gave me the opportunity to look at some of the trees on the property, and I noticed quite a few big dead trees had fallen down. I don't know whether it was recent or over the last few weeks, but the last time I hiked this trail, there wasn't as many trees on the ground as there are now. So I enjoy looking up into the trees and seeing what's going on and seeing what types of trees will hold the snow differently. See, we even have, this shows you how unusual it is. I've got roses that were blooming that got frozen by this unusual cold snap. This is an interesting story here. This happened about 10 years ago. We had another unusual snow that dropped about 2 feet of snow. And what you're looking at here is the stump of a really big Douglas fir tree. You can see the mate to it back there where they were pushing side by side. And if you look down the hill, there's the remains of the log that fell down towards my house. And my house is down there, and it was in a direct line. And what happens is the tree just loaded up with snow weight. And when it fell down, it hit the top of that other tree, thankfully broke the top of this one off and flipped it backwards. So there's still a little bit of snow on the ground today. Today is day number 3 after the snow. It snowed on Monday. It's Wednesday right now. So I went out to take a look at it, and these darn cats, they follow me like they were dogs. So I decided, this is back to yesterday. This is the day before yesterday. This was the day that I had a hard time getting out. At first it hailed and put about an inch of hail on the ground. Then it snowed, and the hail froze into black ice. And I had a hell of a time getting out of my driveway. My son, who's in high school, he threw his hands in the air and said, "Snow day!" So anyway, we did work, and this is the difference. This is what it's like working down the valley. We had this large sycamore tree, Platanus racemosa. That's the California native plane tree. Now, if you're from England, you hear the word sycamore, you're thinking about a maple, but out here in the States, we refer to sycamore as a plane tree. This is a native tree here, and unfortunately, this tree's got a lot of problems. So I got the drone out, had some fun, had to pick some creepy music that made it sound like something that I could play with the drone. I had to get something that was royalty-free, copyright-free, so don't judge me by the music. I always have fun with the drone. I can get up there and get some shots that I couldn't normally get. I've had the drone for about 2 years now, and thankfully, knock on wood, I haven't crashed it yet. But I'm also super careful with it. I'd love to be able to fly in and around crotches and really close to trees, but my drone costs over $1,000, and that's a big investment to trash. So we had this tree, this sycamore tree, this big Platanus racemosa, and it had so much dead in it. You see the right side there. From the ground, I didn't realize it was as dead as it is. Jorge got up there and he started cutting out dead, and the right side, there was hardly anything left on it. And it was full of woodpecker holes to boot. I mean, it was a habitat tree for sure. So we ended up cutting more and more and more, and we had to make it safe because the neighbor of these people were terrified of this giant tree. They thought it was going to crash on their house. And we got to this second part of the tree that did tower over the house, and we got up there, and it turns out the whole thing was dead all the way to the ground. Jorge was rocking it from this point, and I could see the base of the tree moving. It's part of the same tree, but a long time ago, dirt piled up around the base of it, and clearly this side fully decayed. And we got down to the point where we were outside of the grove of small redwoods that we're trying to protect, and he just chunked it down. Sometimes that's the fastest way to do it. You know, one little piece at a time. You end up with firewood that's already on the ground that's easy to move. You know, I sometimes wonder when I see guys trying to hustle a job and they're taking these great big pieces. You know, one piece after another, these great big pieces. Then the next thing you got to do is go in there with chainsaws and cut up all those pieces that are on top of each other. But if you take just a little bit longer and chunk it down into pieces that are easily moved, as soon as he hits the ground, you know, it's easy to process. So sometimes the time that you spend in the tree, if you take a little bit longer and make it easier for the ground crew, means that the job actually gets done faster. I mean, this whole side of the tree there, he had that down in less than an hour. So the whole tree, it took us all day to do because we had to clean everything up and get everything out of there. It was a good job. It was a fun job. I was surprised how much decay there was in the tree. So this is the story is really about the snow and the differences. And it's cold here. It's about 32 degrees, but the weather in California is amazing. So in the same day, I drove out and found these two Magnolia solangianas in full bloom. Well, thanks for watching this video, and here we are back on the Glen property. This is my daughter Callie. I think this is pretty cool. She's following in Dad's footsteps. She's not afraid. We go climbing together. She gets out there, and all my kids have had fun with this rope swing for many, many years. I do appreciate all the comments that you guys leave on my channel, and if you hit the likes, that seems to help with the YouTube algorithms.